Hello everyone, welcome back. Day 5 at Java plus Python. So till yesterday we've been playing around a little bit. I also introduced you to the for loop and while loop. So quick look into both of them, how they work. I would also want to look at your assignments team, the couple of assignments that I gave, and get going into the functions aspect of both the programming language. So for loop in Java, it was very simple team for us to look at just reading the code, and please try and do the same from your end to team. As a general practice, it really helps. A lot of you have to read through the code and explain what you have done. So how do we write a code is one thing, but you're reading either internal or out loud. So let's see. So here we're starting in variable I, and it is going printing from I equals to 0, I less than 100, I equals to I plus 1, all the right, everyone? Here, do you have a question? There's a hand raised from you. Divya, you have a question? Your hand was raised, not sure, so making sure. Everyone can hear me okay, team? Session going good? Audio, visual? Okay, great. And Tejal, I'll remind me on your question, I'll address it a little. Okay, there we go. Now, what is most important? That the whole for loop is broken down into 3 portions. So when I say if statement, we say if statement. Where did I write if? I think it's included somewhere in these. But the for loop, for is a loop team. If is a statement. It has 3 portions. What is my starting point? What is my ending point? And what is my increments or steps that I take each time? That is the key aspect to it for any loop. The same, we could increase it by many more or just a few variations into it. The next, the same for loop in Python when we wrote a very simple one, it went about looking something like this. If I want to print some numbers that are repeated, kind of like in Java, but much more simpler. So the whole context of how Python has been building its programming language is to make it faster and easier to even write the code. Okay. So in this, please keep a note team. The indent that we do basically means that the lines, what lines did I mark everyone? Line 9 and line 10. These 2 lines are inside that for block. Okay. So they start here and go till here. And line 11, is that inside that for block? It is not. Only if I do a tab, now it is inside. So the difference will be that each time it will print underscore I and also I is done. So it's going to go in that fashion team. So you need to know where your loop ends. Everyone with me so far? So the end of your loop is important. So think of this as your starting point after colon, and this is end. So the tab is the most important indent. Now these 2 for loops do almost the same thing. Now comes a couple of things, team. So just as a talk about what we do in programming. We saw variables very briefly. What do variables do, team? They store data, and that's good. Okay. Then we saw simple if statement. What do if statements do? It will tell me if true what to do, if false what to do. So it gives me an option to do either or. So that's a good thing. And we saw something called as a for loop. This primarily all we're doing is navigating through the same steps repeatedly. So we're looping through the same steps repeatedly. That is how we have progressed so far. Now what I'm going to show you, team, is a concept called as functions. Okay? And how do they come into play in programming? How do we take each of these concepts and apply into very real-time environment as we go along? But how do we understand the basics and do some assignments? We should do it right now. So let's first write some basic functions, how they work, what do we do with them, then we'll come back to it. Well, I did not cover while loop, team. And assignments I'll come to. While loop, basically the only difference between a for and while is by default an infinite loop. By default, it's an infinite loop. Unless the condition changes within the loop. So the I, that is the variable. Some variable in the condition has to change. Otherwise, it will go into infinite loop. So I equals to 10, right? So if this I is greater than or equal to 0, and print on I and keep reducing I each time. So what that does is it will give me all the execution till that point. So let's run this to see. So if you go from 9, I believe, or 10, and go all the way to 0. But in this case, if I don't do this and I comment this, I will remain the same each time. Oops, I'm doing Python in Java. So there we go. And let's run this. And it's going in the infinite loop. It's never going unless we terminate it. So we need to specifically say what is it. So this is important, team. So we can apply it into examples like while loop, like example, while user logged in, or while product available, okay, or while coupon code works. So, so we want to retry those steps for a certain number of times. Okay, try a different coupon code or try a different product and so on. So while comes into good handy structure. So there we go with the while loop. The same while loop we also did it in Python. So here the format is while I is greater than or equal to 0. I'm just giving the additional spaces to make it easy to look at. Predominantly it's doing the same. I is greater than I equals to 10. So we have to initialize I. We have to primarily say where does it start and when will it end. We need to know. So that condition. So in this case, it's a number, but I can also say string, like, user is logged in, while value is greater than anything with the text also is absolutely fine. Okay, great. Now let's talk about functions. Let's write maybe functions in which one first? Java, and then we will come and write functions in Python. So what are functions? Why do we require them? The easiest way to do it is primarily to write a function. So let's create a Java class. I'll call this as J11 underscore functions. Okay, create a main. If the main method is not there, you write. I would want you to practice typing publics because main. It is also that you'll make simple errors which you can look at and fix. Oh, okay, I think this is how it is the structure. What do each of them mean? Be it public, private, or static, and how do we give this additional layers of security within Java? We'll talk as we go into hooks concept. Now here, what is it that I want to do? I want to talk about function basics. So primarily, let us say I want to do an activity, something like simple like my add, and this my add should do an activity which is add 5 and 6 and print that value. This way it is easy for us to understand, team, and then we can go back and implement it in little more practical examples. So here I'll write public for my add. I'm just writing the code. I'll explain. At least here. And I'll say sys. I'll say int x equals 5, comma y equals to 6. think this is not bad. I have to then say int z equals x plus y and print z. I'll just print my add of 5 and 6 is plus z. So let me explain this to you. What primarily happens in this case is it is redirecting our code that I know that I will go through line 2 all the way to line 4, and that's my execution. This is my main method. So what do I mean? Start of my code, and this is the end of my code. And here is something called as my main method. So Java always searches for a main method and tries to execute whatever is there. Now let's assume I did not write this function. I just do a simple run of this. This is start of my code, end of my code. Now you see this curl bracket starting and ending for main method. After that, I have created one more thing here called public static void main. It almost the same name here, but the only thing is the name here is called my app. I can name it anything that I want. So I can also say kk add, and I will call it no more as my add. Just like variables that we've used in Java to store value stream, okay, what we are doing, functions also has to be defined. If my add is there, no problem. It is not a problem. Now see, it will say that I didn't find a method called my add. The method of my add is undefined. Function methods, routines or subroutines, procedures, kind of almost the same concept. There are a bunch of code that we want to call when we so that name has to be intact. So just like you name your variables, if you say it x, you have to call it x. I say it x there and write a here, it will say, hey, you didn't define a, so don't make a mistake there. Okay, done. Now what happens wherever I use kk add, just this word called kk add, that function will get called and it will do exactly what I ask it to do. And this is the time I also want you to look at a simple thing called as a debug runtime. In this case, what is happening right now is it's not able to actually happen. When it comes to line 6, from line 6, it is jumping to line 13. So if it's jumping and then after it finishes line 17, it comes back to line 7. So to be able to see how it goes, you could do something called as a debug runtime. I don't want you to do that right away, but let us say, yes, we can put that. Actually, I'll put debug. Toggle breakpoint. Right click on the line. So let me put that so you know that. So we're going to right click on the line number where I want my code to stop, pause for a second and talk to me at that time. Think of it like a stop sign. When we reach a stop sign in traffic, you come to a full halt and then we look at it. So breakpoint is exactly like that. So if you right click on the line number and say toggle breakpoint, it basically adds this dot here. If I do a regular run, it will do the execution and it's not going to stop anywhere. But if I hit this icon here called debug run, you will notice two things happening. One is it will stop when it comes to that line number 3. It is not yet executed. Let's do this. This is easier. Stop this code from execution and start functions start here. All right, everyone. And this breakpoint, I'll right click on line 3 and disable it. Remove what I added. I will right click again on line 6 and add it. Now let's rerun this in a debug. So now what has happened? See, start of my code is done. So line 3 executed. When it came to line 6, before it wants to execute, it's asking me, hey, Karthik, do you want to change the perspective? Perspective is the way we are seeing these particular frames of Windows 10. So it will give us an option where I can watch variables and so on. I will not change that perspective right now. Let's maintain this. It may add too much complexity into it. Forget about this debug also. All you will do is click on this step into thing. See, this is the step into method. So when I say step into, that line 6 will get executed. It is gone to line 7. Did it execute line 7? Not yet. Now when I say step into, it will execute line 7 and it will go directly into line 15 because KK add is there. Then it's line 16, then line 17. Now where should it come back after that? It has gone to the end, line 18 of the function. It notes it's reached there. It will come to line 8 and repeat that same process. Now I'm just triggering that through. And that's my end of the code. Clear? So we could go step by step and do an execution. So this is the first type of a function. Just does some steps. Now look at one more function. My add is there, right? So I'll say my multiply. So this KK add, now I'll say my multiply. Z equals to X star Y and multiply product of 5 and 6 is Z. But every time, why should it be 5 and 6? That is a question to you. So instead of defining these integers here, and I define it here, int X and int Y, these become my input. So I don't need these anymore. And Z will stay here. So the difference is very simple. Let me minimize this. So when I'm calling my multiply, not only will I pass those numbers here, and those values 15 from here will go to the X in here, and 23 will go to the Y in here. So I also want to then say product of plus X, right? That's my variable. Plus another string called and plus Y plus is Z. So look at how my print statement will come nice. It's a product of X and Y, whatever be the value. So now if I call this function again, but this time I pass 11 and a 12 or a 22. What would my result be? So the advantage is it changes based on what we give. So let me save this please. ACT maxes. And So the first function that we saw, very simple. There is 0 input, there is 0 output. Okay. The second function we saw is you can send some details as an input, and it does change the way we do things. So let's look at it again. Now, all I need to do is call this number and tell that, hey, you know what, I want to send something into it. How about 11.23 times 22.45? Why is there an issue on this team? Why does line 12 have an issue? Primarily because we define them as an integer. I cannot send decimals. So in that case, I'll say this is a double or a float, depending on what it is. And it should also be able to take these numbers. So the type of variable changes, team. We will discuss a little bit more about types of variables. But it is okay if you don't know the values. So either you're sending integers or you're sending double. That is fine. Okay. Let's keep them as integers for now. And I'll explain to you as it. The next one. Perfect. And now let's run. So product of 15 and 23 is 345, 11 and 22 is 242, 11 and 23 is 253. So it primarily gives me that data on what is currently passed. And each time you will see the values of X and Y will change. Let's do a debug run and observe now. So let's put a breakpoint on line 10. And I know there are breakpoints earlier. Let's run in a debug mode. So this time I will switch that perspective. So it will change the way the look is. For me, what I want to watch are these variables list that will come up here. Let's do the execution. I have another breakpoint on line 10, right? So I think I should be able to resume it here. It hit the next breakpoint. So it finished my add, all these. Now it is on line 10, yet to execute. So at this point, there's nothing in X or Y. So when I say step into, now do you see X and Y? X has got that value 15 from here, and Y has got that value 20. So that's passed. Like that order, the discipline of what goes and where is very interesting for Java. Now, when you keep going, it's just like the others. So you step into it, it will give you the result. You come out of it, go into the next one. X and Y will keep getting updated, even your Z. So this is the next type of function where you're able to do the same using passing different values. So that is second type, X input. And now comes the third type. Now with 3 types of functions. And also return outputs. So now you'll understand the difference. See, that perspective debug view now is changed here. So so you see this icon team on the top right corner? This is the debug icon. I'm sorry I'm loading you so much with content today, but this is critical to know. Just practice on the same. We'll repeat the same thing over and over again. This is the Java view. So, and this is the debug view. It is a perspective thing of how and what we want to watch. What right now I want to watch bigger code, so I'll use a Java perspective. Now, third type of a function. So almost the same. Public static void my division. I'll send two integers in X, comma in Y. Now here I'll say int Z equals X divided by Y. Okay. And so division of, see how I'm writing, plus X plus and plus Y plus is equal to plus, so there's a combination of variables in black and strings in blue, is equal to plus z. Now, one function, no input, second function takes input. This function prints this, but I will also say it returns that value called z. What does that mean? I will have here a local variable called int a equals my division. Is that the name? I don't remember. And then open brackets. Was it my division? And say 100 by 5. So I'm sending 100 and 5 as my inputs. Those go in as the input, and I do the division and I return that value back. So when I say return team, primarily what is happening so far? The values of x and y from line 14 were coming into line 34 with the functions. Now, whatever is on line 37 goes back to where it was being called from. That is my third type of a function. Okay. It may have input or it may not have input. That is its fault. But whatever it gets as an output, it captures it and it returns that value. So what happens now is I'm storing that into A. Now here is a problem team with it. Whenever I say it returns a value, then this word called void that you saw so far becomes irrelevant. So function returning void means is not returning anything else, anything into it. So all these methods or functions like main, kkAdd, my multiply, my division, they're all not returning, they're all void. Only this one is returning. So if it's returning a value, I have to say that, hey, you know what? It returns an integer. And hence that can get captured. So that statement is called return. And that is the word called void. Why we having to use that. Okay. Now, if I run this code, I would also see division of 105 is 20, and the value would have been there into A. Let's put the breakpoint on line 14 and do whatever that. I'll switch to the perspective and let it run all the way to there. Where is it? I will resume, even resume this. I go to my division, and in my division, 105, thinking. So I should be coming into line 35. So step into, and there are my values x and y. Now z is 20 and return z. So my code works perfectly, everyone. Looks good. Now that is where I think we make certain challenges. So this looks good and I got my value into it. How do I know? I can print and say value of A is plus A. Now, what if I repeat the same thing with B and say this is 100 by 15? Is what? Why is it still? Let's see. And I'm just going to do a regular run. I'm looking at the output. Value, so 100 by 5 is 20, value of A is 20, 100 by 15, is it 16? I don't think so. It's supposed to have decimals, right? So 6, going inside. But it is rounded off because I thought, okay, you know what, I can't get it double here. But primarily it is risky. You'll have to change it into double. Decimals will come very easily with division. Now, the same thing, if I say something like its value, or I can just say A itself. Why again? Find V1 A. What would happen if I divide this by 0? Look at it this way, everyone. It's primarily your thought process of how you want to write a code and try and break it. Thinking of, hey, what would happen in this scenario? What would happen in that scenario? How would my code behave? In this case, it gives something called as a runtime error. Your syntax error when you write code that is not understandable. English is such a long language sometimes. By Java or Python or any. Okay. Runtime error is code is syntactically is equal, but fails during run/execution. It's a runtime error. So we actually use try-catch blocks to handle it. We will talk about that. Okay, cool. So ding, 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 ding. So that's an exception, and we know that there's a problem. Now, can we quickly create the same concepts of basics of functions in Python, please, everyone? Any questions on this so far? py10-functions. So it's the same exact concept, nothing changes. The only thing is how we write. We use a word called f for a definition. I'll say my add here. It's got nothing. You can say x equals to 5, y equals to 6, and x plus y, and that's fine. Okay. And then I have another function here. And let's say, so the first function takes no inputs, just does this. The second one will do this, and it'll also take input. So I'll say it takes x comma y, and I don't need to do anything here. Just say x star y. And for the next also, I send x comma y. Don't need to really, define them. So I'll just print it x divided by y. Now my code itself, I can say my add, just call that. Then I can call my multiply and say I'll set 10 from 23. And then my divide, I'm gonna put, let's say 300 by 10. So this should be able to give me, it's actually running the old code team. See, look at which one, py0, py1, py10. So just making sure you're running the right one, right click on it, run py10 functions. And I got 11 to 30, 10 ones. So that primarily says how easy it is to also define functions in Python. And in this case, let's return that value x by y. So this gets returned. So that means that I can put it into a variable called a and print a as well. So I'm expecting the value 10.0 coming twice. How many print statements will come in? One here, two here, and then, sorry, three here, four. So there's 4 print statements we expect. 11, 23, 10, 10. Any questions, team? I think it was very easy since we already did it in Java. Now having to write it in Python as a code becomes easy. And this is how you can keep on building functions that you can call them as and when you need, as and when we want. Did we do the banking assignment? We spoke about logging in and a few things there, correct? So the few things that I wanted to do here as an assignment. So let me give the assignment team. And then I want to look at who wants to present their homework. Please raise your hands, team. Assignments that I gave. So this will be PY 11. So what I want here is user logs in, user deposits funds, user withdraws funds, user logouts. And for this, use while and functions. So while if for while functions. The same I want you to also do in Java. The concept is very simple, like we were doing earlier. You want to be able to have the user login. Just put data that is fine here. And once done, then you ask the user for choosing. Do you want to add funds or withdraw funds and create functions for them? Does it make sense what I'm saying? Let's put that in here. And now also let's see what we are doing with our assignment from the previous one. So I believe there were two assignments, team, that we did. The first was multiplication table. The second was printing it. Who would like to show these? Mahmood, did you want to show something?
Hey, yeah, sure. How do I share?
I just made you present it.
Show my screen. I don't know which screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, man. We can see the screen.
All right, okay. So I'll go with the Python program that, or probably the Java one first to start with, which kind of works well. So this is for that tree structure. And this is the name, and it is assigned an integer n and a for loop with a starting value of 0, and it should be less than n, and an increment of 2 with an increment of 2, because you said this is for the first upper part of the tree. By the way, I forgot to mention that. But like, with you incremented the asterisk to till 9 and then increments of 2, which is why I went for these values. And there are a couple of for loops inside. So one for printing the space. Okay, so, so I maintained one space between each asterisk symbol. So first one is j equals n minus 1, which means j will be 8. So starting value will be 8. And as long as j is greater than 1, this loop will continue to run. And I'm reducing it by 1, 1 by 1. So for first a space will be printed, and then again it'll go
It will
on
print it eight spaces, basically.
8 spaces, correct. The next comes printing of asterisks. And since I'm maintaining a space between the asterisks, so I'm putting as asterisks here. Now for the values, so j starts from 0, and as long as it's less than or equal to I, and j, I'm just incrementing by 1 here. So on the first one, when j is 0 and it is less than I, so it will just print asterisk. I mean, it will just execute this command only once, and it'll come out. And once
I
it
also
comes out,
starts with 0, is it?
yes,
On line 7. So your I is iterating on line 7, start I with 0. So line 15, J is 0, I is 0, it prints 1 star in the space. Yes, please. And then once it comes out, you were saying?
it comes out line 20, and it's still inside this for loop, and it will just go to the
Mhm.
next line.
And
So
it will
once it comes,
all the way till for the 9 rows.
not 9 rows, since I'm incrementing into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Mhm.
5 rows. So once this value is reduced, the number of space will be reduced. I mean, there won't be any more execution of this one once it reduces below 1.
Did you have to go through a lot of iterations and changes on the code to come up with this? Like
Yeah,
I,
a lot,
okay, yeah.
a lot, and only for the upper part, by the way. The lower part was quite simple because it had a standard structure of leaving a few space on one asterisk symbol and just repeating that 4 times. I mean, 4 asterisks is what you mentioned.
Correct. Wherever it's coming. So
Yeah.
what we did not give in this is the size of the tree, using which we could, further then do it accordingly. But I'm still trying to understand the logic from your end as to on line 7 why we are incrementing I by 2 each time.
Oh, okay. Where's that Word document? I haven't opened it, but in the Word, okay, let me just open that and put that in the
So
screen.
2, 1,
So
okay,
in the
I
Word
will be
document,
0, I is 2, then I will be 4, and so on. No problem. Well, let's print and see what would happen. Let's see the output.
okay.
That's very pretty looking.
Yeah.
And if you don't give a space after the star, how does it look on line 17? Line 30.
As of now, it will be distorted, and we can forget about that lower part. And I have to, if it is like increment only by 1 if I am not giving a space.
Okay. So let's try that once. I just want to see how we can mess it up also with small changes. So let's do I plus 1.
I plus 1, and I'm still printing couple of spaces here. So I may have to reduce by,
Do I minus 1?
no. I don't have to, I think. Let's try this out.
Yeah, let's see. I think
Okay.
it will not come as
And
least.
saving it. Okay.
It just printed a longer tree on the top, I equals to
Yeah.
9. Okay.
Still the
Now,
value is 99.
if you go to M on line 26
Uh-huh.
and make that 9,
Okay. The longer stem.
and now run it.
Saving it and running it now. Yeah.
Now, so basically N and M are almost like the same. So make it 5 and 5, maybe you'll get a good shot at 3.
Yes.
So you're trying to understand, right, how we are making variations also, right, team? I'm sure.
Yes.
Muhammad, is that your name? Mahmood, sorry.
Yeah, Mahmood Hassan, anything is fine. So
Mahmood.
here, if you see, I just maintain the number of spaces hard coded here. I mean, so I may have to, yeah, reduce a couple of spaces in this area.
I think here is the only thing where you should know the middle of the tree in that case. But I definitely shows all the effort you've done. Logic is absolutely correct. What you did is right. Did you also happen to do similar thing in Python?
No, I didn't get a chance, but I did the other one in Python, other assignment.
Okay, great. But once you write it in Java, you can also do the same logic in Python, correct? Should almost do the same output for us. Perfect. Good. Let's see the other assignment in Python then.
The assignment I wouldn't say completely successful, but I didn't achieve everything as in the range. And after learning about a while loop and function, I think that may
Your
help.
audio went a little far away.
Oops, I'm sorry. Mic moved a little. How about now? Better?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So I was just saying that like it's not 100% complete because I didn't achieve of in getting the input only between 1 and 50. And the two items that we learned today, while and functions, I think that may help a little bit in this area. But I'll show what I've done.
Is
So
it
I'm taking an
because the
input.
size of it is becoming more?
Like if I give an input of 51 or 200, beyond this range,
Uh,
um, it will not execute, but it will not go back to the same line. So I was looking for something like a go-to option or something like that, but I couldn't find anything. But so that like it
I'm
can
still
go
trying
back
to
and take
see
the
why
input
it
again.
wouldn't execute.
It wouldn't
How it
execute
executes
because
right now, what it is doing, then we'll come to the next.
sure.
Let's see the current logic.
Sure. So I'm defining a variable here, as an integer and getting the input, user input. And if that input is, as long as is within that range,
Mhm.
1 to 50. Now, actually
Mhm.
here, if I'm putting 1, I think it will accept 0 as well. I'm sorry, if it is 0 to 50, so I noticed that it did not accept 50. So that's why I changed it to 151.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. For I in range of 1 till 11, okay. Again, this is a table starting from 1 to 10. Now, should this be, no, this worked out fine. I mean, again, I changed it to 11, after noticing that like my last line was missing.
Mhm.
And here I'm just forming a table number, whatever number that we're inputting, let's say 6 times 1
Mhm.
is 6, and a couple of tab. And again, the next column, I plus 10 is like 6 times 11 is so and so. And again, here I plus 21, sorry, I times 21 is so and so value. So far, so good here on this line.
Okay.
And if it falls out of the range, print another statement. But here I was just trying something, but I wasn't sure how to come back and execute it again if it doesn't fall into the range. That didn't happen.
Mhm.
But I can show till now how it works.
Absolutely. Let's look at it, please.
All right. Okay, first let me execute this and then how to increase a little bit. Okay, so I'm getting an input. So let me enter 24. So it gives the table something like this.
Which looks very nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little surprising. The last line was little misaligned. Last time when I ran, probably I don't know if the
Mhm.
size of the window was small or something like that. Now it looks a little neat.
So that is what I was
Eh,
thinking. But if that was the main challenge for you, go to your line 7. Add an
Yeah.
additional \t there. Tab. Add one more tab there.
One more. Okay.
Yes, and for the next one also, please.
Yep.
Okay, so that way, even see what is happening even with your bigger number size is it gets rerun this for as is.
Okay.
And I want you to try for a larger number as well.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's
Yeah.
try for 50.
Okay.
This you tried for 49, right? But I don't want you
Yeah.
to try for 100. So remove that if statement, please.
Okay.
Just
And else I'll just comment it out. Come on. It's a little slower. Please bear with
yeah,
me. It's not doing what
no
I want.
problem. No problem at all.
All right. All right. This should work.
Even line 5 you have to comment.
Line 5 number. Okay. Come on. I already
And
entered hash. Yeah, it's coming in. Okay.
from line 6, just unindent, please. Select line 6 to line 8.
Okay. This should do, or like, complete all the
That's
way
fine.
like this.
That is fine. What you're doing is fine.
Okay.
1 second. Hold on. Print has to be tapped
Yeah.
in. One indent. It belongs under
Okay.
the.
Okay. 4.
Now let's run and maybe enter 100 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. So this really
Works.
happened last time as well.
So this. It's just the UI presentation. What I really like, Mahmood, that the fact that you're attending to that detail of it. It is getting moved, the view of it and so on. And why is it mostly happening for this row? I'll tell you. Okay. X.
So there is one extra character here on the first column.
Yes, exactly. So I want 01020304
Okay. Got
in
it.
the output. So line
Right.
7, you see num print num x. That's 0 to 11. Yeah, but we can't add for the first 9. You can add a 0 there and try. So basically, after x comma, put a 0, and comma. No quotes, please. Actually, quotes. You're right. It has to go into single quote. And I correct. So you can with quotes or without quotes does not matter. Just run it. I know it will fail for the others. I want to see at least the first 9. How does it look?
Okay. It should actually add 0 for 10 as well, right? Oh, okay. There is a space.
Right. So for 10 it is added, but if I stop adding from 9 after, then it will be fine, correct?
Yes. Correct.
So that could be a logic. So you could say 2 print statements till 9 1
Got it.
and the other one. But even this looks odd. Even though we added it, looks 0 space 1.
Yeah.
That additional space come onto it, I don't know. Remove that 0 once again. Maybe that
Okay.
Yeah, that is where we have to try a little bit more. But if you look at, just go to Google browser and search for a multiplication table. Let us look at any image output. Let us see how they write it. Because this has to be the in every place, right?
Yeah.
And anyone else who wants to go with showing their assignments, but very, very good one, Mahmood, that you've done, both
Okay.
in coding and presentation. Good job. Multiplication table. Yeah. Images, sure. Let's look at these. See the first one, they're all like that.
Yeah.
Any image.
Yeah.
So the first 9, they look this okay. Then the 10th one, it looks a little more. I
Yeah.
think it'll happen like that. Yeah, that's okay. Alignment. Center aligned print. How can we do is the other thing. 1 second, team. Sorry guys, practice.
No problem.
Okay, good work. So I think we're good with that. Who's going next? I have Satya Devi. Should I make you presenter?
Yeah, I can, Karthik.
1 second. And members
Sorry,
who are still wanting to practice on this, please practice. Okay. Yes, go ahead, please, Satya.
okay. Actually, I've tried coding after long. There might be mistakes.
No
One
problem.
yeah, this is the multiplication table I tried in Python. I tried both of them in Python only, not in Java. So here I'm getting the input from the user input from the console. And then I'm looping around for like 10 times. And here I have 3 variables declared. And so if you see I'm taking the user input and then multiplying with the the for loop count, and then it goes for another variable too. And I'm just seeing the pattern, like this is what the pattern which we wanted. So for the each one we have to, 6 into 1 is 6, 6 into 11 is 66. So I see the pattern difference, and I just added the for loop count plus 10, and then for the next variable I added p plus 20, and then just I try to print all of them together in one line.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, and here is just the number, and then the multiplication.
Now
And then
you can do one thing. We don't need to write string of, I believe, in Python for most of it. So wherever you see str brackets, you can remove that actually. So let's do one thing.
Okay, but sometimes I got that concatenation error, like you cannot do with the number and
yeah,
string.
because we will not use a plus sign here. We will use a comma. So internally, print is a method or a function in Python. So like send x and y variables separated with a comma. Here I can say comma this, comma p, comma answer. If you use plus, then you'll have the challenge.
Okay. So instead of plus, I can use comma.
Correct. And it will do it one after the other. It's like adding.
Okay. So everywhere, like, right? It's not only here. So all over.
Do one thing. Copy line 7. Yes. Copy line 7 and paste it on line 8. We'll comment it and we'll right now do it.
Okay.
Paste it there. And let's comment line 7. Here, just remove string, manually do it for each of them.
Okay.
And even string off you have to remove.
Oh, string off also. Okay.
Correct. You don't need any more string off. Just the variable name, comma, value, whatever hard coded. Here also string off, let's remove.
Okay.
comma.
Okay.
I know there's so many. It's easier sometimes to paste it into Notepad and do a Control H, find replace.
Exactly. I was just thinking that.
You want to try? Yeah, you can try. But the output will be the one. Do it in Notepad.
Just a second. I'll just make it quick.
Do a Control H.
Oh, sorry. Replace with comma. Okay.
And str open brackets
Okay. Yes.
with
Okay.
nothing.
Yeah.
And now there will be some ending brackets after num. Really delete it, please.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just delete it here.
Yeah. And after also, I think there is one.
Yeah.
P10, P20 also.
Okay. Okay.
So is it correct like that?
I think.
String of 10 or something was there, I think.
Which one? Sorry.
Is this correct? Is what I'm thinking. Looks
maybe I'll just paste it over there and
okay.
So we can have a quick look here.
In this, so yeah, if I messed it up, please correct it from your end once later. This comment line, try it once, please.
Do you want to comment that?
Line 8.
Oh, okay.
That was the old one. And let's run.
Let's run.
Yes. Let's see what comes up.
1 second. Yeah. No.
Some problem here. Line 9.
Yeah, I think it is. No, actually, it is P plus.
What is P? I see. P plus 10, is it?
Right, right.
Oh, it replaced that also.
Yeah, it replaced that also, I believe. Yeah.
P plus 20.
It should work now, I think so. Oh, no.
Let's see there. Line 9, printing, P plus 20. Something in one of those. We have to go character by character. Did you tab on line 9? Yeah, I think it's tabbed. It says indentation error. Unindent does not match.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, just one space. I know. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, it goes now.
Thank you. Who gave the answer?
Yeah.
We didn't even look
yeah,
at
it comes. Only the last line, if you see, it takes the 3 tabs extra. I mean, 2 spaces, I think.
I think that's the only one where we have that thing. So what? Okay.
But it's the same thing I have given as such here too, the same tab.
So what I would do is I would put 2 print statements. I would put an if statement here before line 9. And I would say if P is 10, then do this, or else do the regular one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So in that, I will not do tabbing so much. I will do little lesser spaces or something. Can I try and get access to your machine once for a quick second? Keyboard and mouse. Just want to try something.
Okay. Okay.
That UI. Let me know once you've given me the access, please.
Actually, your voice is little breaking, Karthik.
Have you given me the access? Voice.
Okay, yeah, I'm giving it. Yeah.
I have it. Okay, great. So what I'll do is if I write an if statement here, as if p equals n
Okay.
colon,
Mm-hmm.
we will do
Mm-hmm.
something else. This is fine. And I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it here. And in this case, the answer that I'll change a little bit is, so when p, this one, I'm just giving it the same line.
Mm-hmm.
And p is equal to 10. So we will not do additional tabs here. That is enough. And maybe a few spaces.
Okay.
Let's see what will happen. And even here, I will do the same.
Okay.
So it's a very simple play thing, team. So which one did we give? 6, right? So let's try 6 again. Can you click on the run for me?
Right. Yeah. 6. Yeah.
Which is the
Yeah,
one?
sure.
Run it. Okay, so it's getting closer, right? Little.
Yeah, I just ran it.
Okay, so it's getting closer. So I need one lesser.
Yeah, one space. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting closer.
I think one space. Now rerun again.
Maybe the one tab lesser. Yeah, sure.
I deleted one space. 1 second. Now rerun.
Okay. Do you want me to delete here as well?
I don't think so because there's only one. Yeah, delete there also. Let's see.
Okay.
I deleted it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Oh, you did?
No.
Okay, I did.
There you go.
Yeah, there is a little bit moment.
So, but it's
maybe I can
almost
change another tab so I can remove.
correct. It's, I think even Mahmood wanted to do the same thing. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so this is
Yeah, I had
almost.
only alignment issue. I tried several times and then I just left.
Okay, 1 second. I think we're almost there. So this no tabs and here 3 tabs.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think this works.
No, this will take it too long, far away.
Stop. Yeah, we got it.
Okay, not bad.
Okay.
At least that part it has come. But the first
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, that is still not. Yeah, but that's okay. It's good. I like that we're giving attention to the detail. Very nice.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and another one actually I really tried, but kind of some manipulations. But sometimes even I'm not sure how exactly I got it, but I made it. This one, the tree one, actually it will ask you for which position you want to print the tree, from where you want to start. So I just give some position number. So it prints like this.
And team, just letting you know that this code will look much simpler in Python compared to in Java.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, we can use this print statement to also do this character. I want to print it p number of times. I just use a star and say, so if the character char is star, X is space. Here I'm printing y. I'm printing, what is this?
Y is the position number you are getting actually from the console.
Position number. Okay. And times X.
Yeah, X is the space for you to print the space in the front.
Yeah. Okay. So this, is it okay if we write X star Y? Will it work the same?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, because we're saying what character, how many times. Like this is
Right.
what character, how many times.
How
So
many
let's,
times? Yeah.
we can try this again. So this is the main key difference, team, that you have this multiplication. Yes, please.
Right.
So 111 increments of 2. Okay, so you're printing spaces starting with y is 7 spaces, then 5 spaces. No, 7 spaces, then 6 spaces, I see.
Right. Yeah. Then 6 space.
Number of stars we are printing the first time is 1, then 3, then 5. Correct.
Yeah.
Because in
Yeah.
that increments. And then that's done. We are entering Q in range. So this is hard coded. We can have the same one.
Yeah. This one was a hard coded actually.
No problem. So y is there, right? So we can have y equals to y plus 5.
That is for the stem. I mean, the stem to go to the 5th position and print the star for this
Okay.
one.
Okay. Perfect. Very nice. And it'll repeat. You have to loop through that print statement, each one new line, for those number of times. And here you can just write 1, 6. It'll by default increment 1.
Oh, right. Yeah. By default, it takes 1. Yeah.
Okay. If you want to keep it, I'll keep it. Otherwise, I'll leave it like this.
That's fine. That's fine. It's understood.
Okay. Why do we have so many open here? Like 3. Why am I? So there's a lot of logic that has gone in. So string of vector start.
Yeah, we tried several methods. At the last line, even
Yes.
it's like trial and error for me.
And this you're basically trying to do what?
For the last line, I mean below the star, like a base.
Floor.
Yeah, this.
Base, correct.
Yeah, this one actually it was coming for me from like away from this line. So I tried to pull it everything together from where this one starts.
So from the base, so base we just have to print it 7 times, right? No, it's not 7 times.
This one, I mean the top one.
No, the base. I'm thinking of the base. Line 16 is for the base, correct?
Yeah, that's for the last line. Yeah, line 16 is for this last line to print.
So print, I'm a little confused on this line. Y is 7. Y minus P. P is what value right now?
P will be actually
10.
9 here at this point. So and
it will be
the
10.
Y, yeah.
Oh yeah, 9. Sorry, right. You're right. P will be 9.
9 and Y will be 12. So what it happens is it's not starting at this exact position. It's getting moved when I try to print. So I just little bit. I mean doing this manipulation here for that.
How many stars are coming here below?
2, 3.
7, 1, 3, 5. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 stars.
Yeah, so it's same as this one. It's same as this last line, and this one also has the same count.
One second.
Sure.
So the same as this last line, right?
Right. Yeah, the same as that last line, but since it was like the alignment was not right, so I just decreased that count.
So same as the last line, but y you decreased by 5. I'll increase it. I'll decrease it by 5 now.
Okay.
And let's see if this works. It
You want
almost
to comment?
is no logic difference, nothing.
Actually, I don't want to use that center function and all, so but still tried without all those built-in functions.
Sure, no problem. Can you try once again?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it was going like that. I mean, away from the
I see.
main point, main question. That's why.
Got it. So there is definitely something in this. I like that. Okay, got it. Thank you so much. That was interesting.
Thank you.
Very nice of you. Good job.
Thank you, Karthik.
Okay, anyone else, team? I think we're almost towards the end of the session also. We've learned functions. So please try and create that simple. So now it is not about for loop and if statement and logic. It is more simple. Okay, what the user wants, what function should I write for what? It looked very interesting, team. So just work on that. And we have a few more very interesting topics that we'll get into tomorrow. Great. I don't see any other hands raised. Divya, your hand is raised, but somehow. Any questions, Divya, from your end? And Shalan, you said something about, I just unmuted you. Let me know if anyone has a question, team. You can raise your hand. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you back on.
Karthik,
Yes,
sorry for the interruption. Karthik,
yes, please. Go ahead.
could you show the assignment ones? Actually, I missed to note it down. Or do you have anywhere else posted or something?
I'll show you.
Yeah, thank you.
Did I write it detailed enough? Here, bank assignment. Yeah. So I'll also put it in the chat here, but I'll send it across in the Skype.
Okay,
I'll put it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
So
you,
can we
everyone.
take overall something like that or just?
Sorry, no. Sorry, what was your question?
No. Do we need to use any website or?
No, not at all. Just the logic.
Logic alone. Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah. It's got nothing to do with the web application or anything. Just the back logic.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.